So, I'm just going to kind of explain this. So, definitely, Yu-Gi-Oh is way different than when we started. They have all sorts of monsters now. Almost every monster is an effect monster, has some kind of effect that it does. We have these things called hand traps, which are essentially trap cards that you use in your hands, but they're monsters that you can play at instant speed. So, just want to show you kind of a little bit about what it looks like and some of the stuff. It's definitely way easier to learn combos than it is to like really go through there. So this first one is called Vakari Ad Ignister. Essentially, this finds any Ad Ignister spell or trap from my deck, and you get to put it into your hand. It also has another effect where it can change the level of any other Ad Ignister monster. I know I'm a little shaky right now, to level 4. And that will come in handy. So there's 3 of those. This one is called Achichi Ad Ignister. This and your Vakari are the start of your combos. There's different cards in the deck to get to these guys, but this is where it comes from. Achichi is basically elemental hero Stratos, to where it used to be able to find any hero. This one can find any level 4 or lower Ad Ignister. And then at the start of the damage step, when your Cyberse monster battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy that monster you control. This is mainly for like a weird combo in order to protect yourself. But this and Vakari are the main starters of this deck. This is called Doyon Ad Ignister. When it's normal summon or special summon, you get to add 1 Ad Ignister monster from your graveyard to your hand. And then whenever it's put into the graveyard, you get to add 1 spell or trap card. There's 2 of those. And essentially, Chad, special summoning is like the biggest thing. You can special summon multiple times. I'll even show you one here tomorrow. This is called Danmari Ad Ignister. The effect of this is you want to get this guy into the graveyard in order. It's a it's a protection card. It'll protect your cards from specs. Same thing with Gachiri. It makes it to where cards are unaffected by spells, traps, or any other or monster effects. It can also special summon itself. It's really good in a combo. Bururu. I don't know if you remember, but Bururu is essentially Foolish Burial. It is a tuner monster, so we do synchro summon in this. And then whenever it's synchro summoned, the other monster that you use to synchro summon with this card will return back into play. This is Hayari Ad Ignister. It has the ability to special summon itself as long as you control another Ad Ignister monster. The other effect of Hayari is you can sacrifice a Cyberse monster and you get to grab basically your Cyberse ritual. I think it's called Ritual. And then if you sacrifice a Link monster, it gets a level, basically any level of Cyberse monster you want, you get added to your hand. This is called Doiburu or Doyonburu. I never can pronounce it. Essentially, this is a slight form of protection in order not to take battle damage, but its other ability, it's actually part of a combo. This deck is really good. You can win on your second turn, or you can set up a combo to where on your first turn, all your monsters are basically unaffected by anything, and it's really hard for you to beat over. You also have a monster that has 4,000 attack points, and I'll go over some of that here in a minute. Ad Ignister Island. So this is one of the most important cards in the deck. You have to run it at 3 of. Essentially, Island, anytime a card, your main monster zone is open, you get a special summon an Ad Ignister monster that is not of the same attribute that you special summoned before. It's pretty fun. I really like it. I'll show you how that works here a little bit. We have to play 3 of those. This is called I Meet You. Usually you search this out with Vakari in order to go get Achichi. If you start with Achichi, you just go grab Vakari, and then Vakari will grab this. I Meet You is essentially, I get to go search the deck for any card. I have to reveal a monster that has 2,300 attack points from the extra deck, in order to get it, but it's still pretty good. So you have to run 3 of these. Signet Mining is essentially I Meet You without the reveal. The only cost is that you have to discard a card, but then you have to go get 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. We have to play 3 of these. Idol Reborn. This is essentially Monster Reborn. It has another effect, but we never really use that. Of course, we run 1 Monster Reborn. Eye Contact. Eye Contact essentially becomes Pot of Greed. If you have another Adignister Island in your hand and you have this card, as long as you have Island on the field, then you get to draw 3 cards. But you have to put this card into the graveyard and then the Island at the bottom of your deck. Eyes Ritual. Eyes Ritual is part of a combo in order to summon what is called the Cyberse lock in order to lock our opponents out. Signet Ritual. This is part of the combo. We don't really use this card ever unless we have extra monsters. This is not the ritual summon we like to use. This is Cyberse Magician. Cyberse Magician, it can only be ritual summoned. And then it can make it to where card effects can only target this card. And if you're being attacked by a Link monster, you can increase this attack by 1,000. So it's pretty good. This is Mathmech Multiplication. This is part of a combo in order to OTK your opponent on the 2nd turn. It works really good. I'm really happy with it. But we only have it as a 1-of because we can search this. Effect Veiler. You might remember this card. It was in a bunch back in the day. Basically, its main effect is you send this card to the graveyard, you target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and then they can't activate their ability. We only run 2 of those because it's okay. There's other cards I want to replace this with. Ash Blossom of Joyous Spring, another hand trap. Its effect is you can negate adding cards from the deck to the hand. You can negate a special summon from the deck, and then you can also negate sending a card from the deck to the graveyard. You'll use this. It's a 3-of. There's no getting around that. This is called Ghost Bell of Haunted Mansion. Essentially what it does is you discard this card in order to negate people adding cards from the graveyard to the hand, deck, or extra deck, special summoning monsters from the graveyard, and returning cards from the or banishing cards from the graveyard. It's 2-of, it's needed. Here's a card you'll remember. Solemn Judgment. You need these 3 trap cards. It cuts your life points in half, but honestly, if you play this going second or going first and you slam this down, there's nothing they can really do. It negates adding, also negates that spell or trap card. And then we play 2 Solemn Strikes. So Solemn Strike is if a monster would be special summoned or if an effect of a monster would be activated. I forgot I had the German version. You pay 1,500 life points and you get to negate that and then destroy that card. So these are really good. Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely is a little bit different. I'm going to go over the extra deck. The way the extra deck works out is we still have our 5 monster zones, but we also have our extra deck monster zone. I need to get a new mat for that. Okay. So this is called Dark Infant Adignister. And realistically, I'm just making this so that we have an idea. Its ability is that whenever it's special summoned, Link summoning is basically special summoning out of the extra deck. You get to add Adignister Island to your hand, and then you immediately want to play that. That's your go-to card. And then if this card is Link summoned to a zone a card points to, you can actually move over the Link zone, which is something we use for a combo. Okay. This is Light Dragon Adignister. 2 Cyberse. So this is called an Xyz monster. As you can tell, it's black. It's got a little bit different on there. But basically what the Xyz monsters do is you put 2 level 4s underneath this, and then it gets the ability. This card can actually destroy, if you remove a Xyz material, it can actually destroy any number of monsters based off the number of Adignisters you control. It's pretty good. And then whenever another monster you control, a Cyberse monster, deals damage, you get to special summon a Link monster from your graveyard. Here's one of our synchros. Wind Pegasus Adignister, basically Harpy's Feather Duster, destroys spells and traps. So you got a Raigeki in that. The Wind Pegasus can also send cards. What was it? You can spend cards and put them back into their into their hand or their deck. I think it's their deck. This is Fire Phoenix Adignister. This is a combo killer. Essentially, what you'll do is there's a way to double the attack of this, and then you kill them. You just say good luck. This is Dark Templar Adignister. It can Monster Reborn 3 cards at the same time. You use this to get those cards in order to link climb or go up into your bigger guy. Your boss monster is this guy right here, Cyberse Adignister, the Arrival. What he does essentially is he is unaffected by card effects, so they can't just out him this way. And then he can destroy a card once per turn, and then you get to add a token. This is your main guy. Cyberse Wicked, we use this in order to get into our combo extenders and our pieces. I'll go over how to do that. Okay, so this is Primatech, I think it's Albertaron, I don't remember. So you get 2 level 4s, you use this guy in order to get your Math Mech multiplication. He's part of the combo in order to kill somebody on their first turn. I'll show that later. Cyberse Quantum Dragon. This goes with your Cyberse Magician and your Cyberse Arrival. With all 3 of those cards on the field at once, you can lock it out to where your opponent essentially cannot target you with spells or abilities that say like destroy, remove, anything like that. There's another type of cards called Kaijus. If someone plays a Kaiju on you, you're kind of done, but you get a big old monster. I'll explain how that works later. Cyberse Witch, her effect is she can go search out your ritual spells. You use this with Hyari, and then you get to kind of win the game with that. Splash Magician, basically another monster reborn. Transcode Talker, if you make this guy, usually you can kind of one turn hit, one turn win, because he gets to bring back another Link monster and you get to do this. Shooting Code Talker, this guy is mainly in the deck in order to search out your Hyari with I Meet You. He's got a kind of cool effect. He lets you draw extra cards, but his attack goes down. And then this is the last boss monster, this and the Arrival. This is Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. Essentially, based off the type of monsters, Link, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz, he gains 2,500 attack points per each one, and you can remove one of those counters in order to negate the effect of a card. So it's definitely different, but I'll show you some combos in a video here in just a minute.